Alright, so I'm getting this video to you extremely late, and it's only half my fault, I promise. This is 20th Century Boys, and 20th Century Boys was the Patreon pick for the month of January, but because of all the bad weather that we had and all the kinds of crazy stuff that just happened in that month, my patron that recommended it for me, the Saiyan formerly known as Kakarot, was attempting to send me the first 3 volumes of this, which he did eventually, but it got canceled and it got sent back, and then it got... So long story short, I wasn't able to read this in January. Then, after I went through these 3 volumes of the story, I went ahead and ordered the next 3. Don't judge me. Anyway, thank you again to the Saiyan formerly known as Kakarot, and thank you for recommending this. Obviously, I liked it. It was a really good time. I had a great time with it, to be quite honest. Also, there is no real spoiler warning for this. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this spoiler-free because, to be quite honest, there is no reason that I can think of off the top of my head to spoil anything in this story. I can talk about it 100% spoiler-free and pretty much say everything I need to say because... that, and to be quite honest, I haven't read all of it. I've only got the first half of it down. So, really, this will be fine. 20th Century Boys is an apocalyptic, suspense thriller, end-of-the-world mystery manga by the master himself, Naoki Urasawa. I almost didn't pull that name up. I almost pulled a blank when I got there. Anyway. So due to the fact that it's from Naoki Urasawa, half of those words I just said should automatically just be like a given, like the word mystery or thriller. Also, I did say the master himself, Naoki Urasawa, and I think that's a little bit of a stretch. I know that is how a lot of people see him and a lot of people will describe him. I myself would say he's extremely good, bordering on great. Maybe not 100% great, but definitely bordering on it. Now let's get my hot take out of the way right off the bat. I am on the record as saying Monster is overrated. I mean, I personally gave it an 8 out of 10 when I read it and reviewed it, but that is not the perfect 10 out of 10 absolute masterpiece that people claim it is. I just don't think it's that. I just think it's an exceptionally good manga, solid 8 out of 10. That's about as far as I can get with it. Now, let's get another hot take out of the way right off the bat. And I cannot say this one for sure because I am only halfway done with this particular manga. But I'm going to say if this one holds true to what it is right now, to all my feelings that I'm having about this one, I think this has a really, really strong chance of being better than Monster. But like I said, I'm not done, and only time will tell. But with that being said, I can tell you that Naoki has a very distinct sense of style in the way that he's writing and telling stories. Having read Monster, having read half of this, and having watched Pluto, the anime, I haven't actually read that one yet, but I did watch the entire anime on Netflix. And he's just got such a vibe to the way that he draws and he does stories, a flow to his stories, this really tense, taut, tightly written thriller with mystery after mystery and reveals, and just the way that he puts it all together and the way that meshes with his particular art style just creates, it's a whole vibe. And boy, is it compelling. And it really has just this magnetic pull that really pulls you through the story. Hence, I bought 3 more volumes and I just kept going and I just didn't stop. Now, going back to his art really fast, he has such a distinct style to that as well. And it's got this, I don't know how to explain it, just his character designs are a little weird and a little off. It's not very manga typical. It doesn't have that stereotypical Japanese manga anime feel to the characters. They don't have those big eyes, I guess, for lack of a better description here. But it's just got a different feeling when it comes to your typical manga or anime art style. Then on top of that, it's got this almost hyper-realism in some aspects of the art, and it's like I said, it's just very wonderfully done. It might not be my personal favorite. My personal favorite is Nihei, but it has a very distinct style, and there's no way you're going to see a panel of this and not know right off the bat exactly who drew it. And of course, credit where credit is due, just the level of skill that he has when putting these panels and these pieces and these pictures together, just absolutely superb. And if you connect with this particular art style, I could see this being your favorite. And he is superb at paneling, like just the flow of the panels from one to the next and the next. And he is kind of the master of the end of the page panel that is almost like a cliffhanger at the end of every single page, which draws you to want to turn the page like you kind of need to see what happens next, which really works into that magnetic pull that I was trying to say that his particular mangas have, where you just kind of keep going, and then that's dialed up to the end of every single volume. He gives you a really big cliffhanger at the end of every volume, so you're like, oh my god, where's this gonna go? What happens next? I need the next volume. Yeah, he's really good at that. Then the other thing that I've noticed, it feels like he has, like I said, this very particular distinct style of storytelling and art, and then he feels like he takes his style and mixes it with something when he makes a particular story. Like when he made Pluto, he took his style and mixed it with Astro Boy. When he made Monster, he took his style and he mixed it with like a late night soap opera. And then when he made this one, it feels like he took his style and mixed it with like a Stephen King-esque coming of age story. And I love it. To be fair, Stephen King is one of my favorite authors of all time, and he is like the master of the group of boys coming of age story. Just think of It or The Body, Stand By Me, that movie, and he does that, and he does that so well. So for somebody to kind of take that feeling and that vibe and then mix it with their own style and make it into this weird end of the world mystery, that's a win in my book. Right off the bat. But it does not stop there, because Urasawa, in typical fashion, can't stop there. That's not good enough for him. So a typical coming-of-age story is going to have like 2 different time periods, and it's going to bounce between the two, the adults and the kids, and we're going to learn about both at the same time in these mysteries. And Naoki says, hold my beer, and adds a third timeline in there. So we're flashing from the time that they're kids to the time that they're adults to another time where they're older adults, and we are constantly bouncing from one to the other, and back and forth and all over the place. And every scene is informing the next scene while being informed by the last scene, while calling back to something that happened a volume ago. It is superbly structured and put together. His ability to juggle everything that he's juggling and have it flow properly and have all of the have all of the reveals lock into place the way that they need to for this to work as well as it does is extremely well done. I cannot overstate that enough. And obviously, as of right now, I do not have a resolution yet because I'm only halfway through the manga, but so far the drip feed of details and facts and mysteries and reveals has been very extremely well done. Although I will say, I do have some concerns considering how long I've been at this already and how much longer I have to go, whether or not he will be able to maintain that tension and that drip feeding of reveals, or is it going to feel like it got stretched a little bit too long and maybe overstayed its welcome a little bit? I don't know. I can't say. I haven't read the second half, but just seeing how much longer and how many more volumes I have some mild concerns. I will say that. Now, in the vein of all the tension that he's building while he's building out these volumes, I will say the tension in this particular manga feels just a little bit more earned than it did in Monster. Not to constantly keep bringing Monster up, but it just feels that one felt a little bit more manufactured, and this one feels a little bit more organic. Although I will say, like I said, there's that last panel of the book thing where he drops you on a big cliffhanger, and some of them are all better than others, we'll say. But after he does it over and over and over and over again, it kind of gets to the point where it feels like when you get to the last panel of the volume, it kind of feels like that panel should come with that big dramatic noise that they'd play at the end of every Lost episode. If you've seen that, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I think this is really good, maybe even great. The readability and the momentum for sure is great. I mean, I read 3 volumes, the 3 volumes that I was going to read for this entire video, and then I read 3 more. So that has to count for something, right? And I'm not going to rate this, obviously, because I haven't read the whole thing. I'll wait till I've read it. Although if I were going to rate this read-through, I'd probably say it's right around an 8, right around the same as Monster, even though I said I think it's better than Monster. I think it'll probably fall right around an 8. I don't know if this is going to reach up to a 9 by the time I'm done with it. It might. You know what? I'm halfway. It could wow me for the second half, and I could totally see this being a 9. But I could also see it just kind of hovering at an 8. So I'm not going to set anything in stone. I think I'll just, considering that I'm just doing this in like large chunks, I'll just wait till the end to give it an actual whatever stamp I'm going to give it. But I will say that it is superbly written as far as structure is concerned, and the amount of time and care that it took somebody to put this together in the way that they put it together. It's just, it kind of is awe-inspiring at some points, and I just really enjoy reading it, and I think it's fabulous and worth reading for anybody who wants to pick it up and wants to read it, and worth adding to your collection, because these just kind of look lovely on the shelf. Well, maybe that's just me. Anyway, as always, let me know what you think down in the comments below. As always, everybody, the link for my Patreon's in the description below. The link for my Discord's in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.